You still have 2 minutes to talk.
I said that's so quiet. You can't get classroom that quiet. For the fountain. Especially because the camera and the mic is yeah, it's stuck in that one. As soon as it comes out, so we will do Lapeer. So as soon as it goes out,
It's typically up to 30 seconds.
It goes out October 1, October. Probably we work out in December, then we probably won't be November 5th.
Yeah, do you see that decides is your board or just?
No, they have a recommendation for finance out. If it's got to go 30 days, we'll miss the finance out from the November board meeting. November and December.
Unless they want to do start right away and then use a special.
All right, back down.
Good evening, everyone. The Lapeer Community School Board of Education meeting is now in order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Hagel, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Hagnon. Okay, we will begin our evening with the introduction of new administrative staff. So I will hand it over to you, Superintendent Wandering.
Thank you, Madam President. It's that time of year where we get to welcome new team members to Lapeer Community Schools, and it is our tradition to invite those that would like to be singled out and recognized by the board. A hearty hello from Lapeer Schools. So, too late now, you're here. You're in the building. You're in the building. Lock the front door, Karen? No, actually, that's against the law. We have to. So here's what you have to do. When I call your name and introduce you, you're going to stand up. You're going to tell us your assignment, meaning what building and what grade you teach or what your current position is. And you have a choice to either tell us the alma mater of your undergrad degree or your previous position in the district or job that you came from. It's your choice. Now, full disclosure, the board is allowed to heckle or show their support for that undergrad degree institution or previous job if we like that district or town. So, good luck. But it's our
choose wisely.
Choose wisely. We don't give you the answers in advance, so admit that at your own peril. So we're going to start with Robin Caparuccio. Robin, can you stand up and tell us where you're at, where you went to school?
So I am at Lapeer High School. My assignment is to bring law and order and growth. My alma mater is University of Michigan, Ann Arbor.
Go Blue! Yeah!
For those of you who didn't like that, I come from Armada High School, home of Blake's Hard Cider, Atkins's Pies, and the other famous Armada Fair. So there's a lot of things to like about me. So.
Mr. Brian Bader, stand up and be recognized.
Good evening. I'm Brian Bader. I am here at ASC. I'm the new Director of Operations. I came from Henry City Schools, 20 years, doing transportation and custodial services.
Awesome. I'm going to tell, welcome. I'm going to tell a great story. So, because Lapeer Community Schools prides itself on being a good partner to its neighbor districts, I reached out to Dr. Cameron, who is superintendent in the city schools, a good friend and a good colleague. And I mentioned that we were going to steal Brian, and he was really bummed and said, "Gosh, Matt, you're getting a great hire. This guy is a lifer here." He goes, "I got a great story." He goes, "Brian started working in the operations department in Imlay City as a senior in high school. Lo and behold, at his graduation ceremony, the sound system began to malfunction. And guess who fixed it?" In his cap and gown. Right? So he was a leader even at 18 years old. I know the city's losses are gaining, so welcome, Brian. Kathleen Kovacs, you are next. Come on down.
No, I'm honored to the schools. Previous director of operations for the Messenger Link, went out of business. Kind of the same.
And she is now, and you are now our new.
I'm now the assistant director. I'm hashtag Kathleen.
Yeah.
So she can go home early and I can stay late. That's what I
But she can also perform life-saving services should we need that. So, yeah, awesome. Welcome.
Okay, now we have introduction of new instructional staff. Superintendent Wonder.
Thank you, Madam President. 27 new hires to announce. So Ms. Cecily and our Human Resource Department have been
so far.
very busy, and we're going to add to that number. You know, it's a really unique time in education for those of us that have been in the business for a long time. We've never seen demand so high and supply so low, right? We've really got some challenging times ahead of us, and these issues are not unique to Lapeer. And it's all positions. You know, it really began, I would say, we started noticing 7 to 8 years ago a real limited supply from a support staff position perspective, and we've really now started to see that creep into the professional side as well, with administrative staff, with teaching positions, special education, where we are really having a hard time as our neighbors filling the spot. So it's always good to welcome these folks. Hope that they find their experience here at Lapeer Community Schools a rewarding one, and continue to stay here and be employed and not get pecked and stolen, from our neighbors. So we have not all 27 of those folks are here this evening. So when I call your name, the same instructions apply to you. Position or title or building that you're at, role you're occupying in your alma mater, and then proceed to get cheered food. So, Selena Adams.
Hello, I am 6th grade social studies at Rowan Warner. Alma mater, I am a 2021 graduate from Sacramento Valley State University. What else? I'm sorry.
That's it. 2021 grad, so this is your first job.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I see a lifelong employee right there. She's got the look. Welcome. Janine Brewer, you are next.
Hello, my name is Janine Brewer. I graduated from U of M Flint 2004.
Go Blue.
Go Blue. And I come from the Flint area from teaching my last 18 years there. This is the start of my 18th year. I'm teaching at Schickler, Lynch, and St. Paul, K2 Music.
Oh, awesome. Jacob Brown.
Hello, I'm Jacob Brown. I'm currently at Lapeer High School doing social studies, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And I went to U of M Flint. Go Blue.
Go Blue. Awesome. Welcome. Elise, is it Hewitt?
It's hard, yeah. Hewald.
Hewald.
I made a name, but Hewald. It's a rough one, but hi, nice to meet you. I'm at Murphy. I'm the 4-5 split teacher over there. I come from Oakland University, Baker College, and Central Michigan.
Awesome. We're going to find someone that
special education teacher over at Kids and Company. I've been teaching for 16 years, and I previously taught at St. Paul in Lapeer and St. Paul in Flint. And I'm Oakland University also.
Oh, yeah. And district parent, right?
I'm a district
Yeah.
parent, both of my children. Dr. Watson was able to coach some of my.
Oh, we're sorry about that.
No.
I know, it's all right.
Right.
Those scars run deep, Jennifer. Welcome. Awesome. Adam Jacobson.
My name is Adam Jacobson. I'm teaching at Lapeer High School. I'm teaching mechatronics, manufacturing, and CAD, and career technical education. I work full-time in Lapeer at a local business called Lapeer Group. I'm a controls engineer, software, hardware designer. So I'm looking forward to the new year. My alma mater is Eastern Michigan University.
Well, you're on. Yeah, that's a program, Adam, that we're really proud of and really happy to begin to attract some of our local business leaders, folks that are experts in the field, and come and work with our young people. So, welcome. Good luck. That's great. And last but certainly not least, we have Stacy Zalagaris.
Oh, you did it right.
I will start by saying my kids came in for open house and said, "Can we call you Mrs. Z?" All of them.
Yes.
So I'm like, yes, you can. I am a Schickler, 3rd grade. Happy to be back in public school. I've been in parochial schools for about 19 years. With only a couple that I did go into public schools for a little bit. I finished my ed specialist degree from U of M Flint and and they said get into public schools, so I did. For a little bit, and then I went back, and now I'm back here, and I'm very happy to be here.
Do we have one more? Oh, who's not in? Stand and introduce yourself and tell us all about you. It's okay. And you were late for the meeting.
I think I walked in a minute. Yes, but my name is Renee Sonnen, and I'm a social worker at the high school and also at CFI. My undergrad is actually from Oakland University, and it's actually in mechanical engineering. So. But after 20 some odd years of being in the automotive industry, I went back to school and just received my master's in social work this year. So this is my first official school year as a social worker.
And you are the first official person in the history of the world to go from mechanical engineering to social work.
I know. But
where's our PR guy? We got to promote this.
I just have to say that because it's just an interesting bit, I guess. But
that is fantastic.
But yeah, I just really wanted to do something different, and my master's, by the way, is from Michigan State. I live in a house divided.
Well, sometimes things slip through the HR department.
Yeah.
We'll make a quick note of that. Welcome. And Stacy, as much as I'd love to take credit for that, I got a great assistant. So I look at these names and I'm like, my last name is Wandry. Sometimes it gets butchered. So, I employ the help of the staff. Get me the right pronunciation of these names. It's important. So about 10 minutes ago, Mary Moss, my talented assistant, walks in and goes, "Stacy Zalagaris." Oh man, I got that. So I don't want to take credit for it. So
Next time you can just say Mrs. Z.
Welcome. Thank you all for making it a priority to be here tonight. We really appreciate you being here. So welcome to Lapeer Community Schools, and brace yourself for the most exciting board meeting you're ever going to experience. With that, I yield the balance of my time to you, Madam President.
Thank you. We are excited to have you guys here. Very nice for you guys to come here so we can meet you, see your faces. So with that, then we will go into our presentation. We have Skinner Lake. So I will Superintendent Wandering.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a long time coming. I want to introduce everyone to Beth Ruprecht, who does everything in the district, and including the management of what we think is one of the most unique facilities in the state as it relates to its instructional design, its accessibility to our students, and the fact that we've got quite a treasure here. But a treasure and a resource that requires update and maintenance, and for a long time it's one of those things that gets back burner. Beth has been a tireless advocate for what she's about to present to you. It only took me just a shade over a decade and a half to figure out that we got to make this a priority, and it's really all due to Beth. She is the powerhouse behind all of this, and we're really excited to share with you our forest management plan with you, and there's no one better to do it than Beth. So Beth, take over.
Okay, I was afraid you were going to ask where I was from. Ferris State College, does that even?
Go for it. Ferris State College.
It's that a lot.
It just changed university when I started there, so yeah, I had a little Ferris State College, and then I had to buy new garb the next year. So yeah, it was all publicity stunt for them. So.
All right, so when I was asked to create this presentation, I thought probably many of you were there as students, but probably not citizens. So I decided to go back, and in the process of creating a forest management plan, we also had to look up some history. So I thought I would bring a little bit of history in that I think is kind of interesting, along with the forester that I've been working with. He wasn't able to make it tonight, but he will be part of it as we continue on with the management plan. So I just titled it Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. Looking at yesterday, so the initial property was purchased back, or was given to a group called the Preston Youth Camp by Mr. Preston back in 1946. And it wasn't the Preston Youth Camp for very long. In 1948, they changed the name to the Lapeer Youth Project. Prior to that, the purpose you can see is pretty much the same as it currently is. They kept it, they wanted to do the education and helpful recreation. So you see that there's Rotary, Kiwanis, reached out to North Ranch at the time, and multiple other clubs that were part of it. So that was the first 30 acres. In 1952, then, they purchased an additional 50 acres. That took them down to the lake. So then they had not only the 30 when you first drive in, but also the lake frontage as well. So purchased the 50 acres for $2,650. So pretty crazy in today's world that you wouldn't even get an acre for that. Created some new bylaws. Now their members, they went through in the bylaws, and the president from the time this took place in 1952 through the time when Lapeer took it over was Mr. Schickler, which is kind of cool. When Schickler kids come out, we tell them that, hey, the first president of this place was Mr. Schickler. And then they had one person from each of those organizations as representatives. In 1954, they were already talking about needing to think about passing it on to an organization that could financially support it. It had grown, they were putting a beach in, and they thought that it would just take off. This was from the minutes of In 1954, they also put together the first forest management plan. So in that plan, it was literally 2 pages. It had that, they did not want to venture far from the youth recreation and education component. And they also looked at the trees then, which forest management plan you would expect, right? And said, these are great trees. We need to plant some more, and we will look at, not cutting them for the next 10 years at least, and how many more people there are. We just received this photo a couple weeks weeks ago from MSU, and this is the driveway to Skinner. The lodge is right in there. I want you to take note of this. On this side of the driveway and on this side, there's no forest. And a lot of agricultural land in the surrounding areas. Camp Layout, so our frontage to the lake is along here, and this would be Camp Layout over here. If you're familiar with that area. So then they planted trees, and they planted a lot of pine. You can see they got a grant to that, and they weren't, in the grant it was an agreement that they would not harvest anything for at least 10 years. It's been more than 10 years, right? Then in 1956, and there's this is the deed, but some of our paperwork says 1957 is when we purchased it. So it was right in that time. But they sold it to the schools for $1. So the entire 80 acres was $1, with the understanding that we would continue to use it as a recreational.
We actually used this contract as a template when we sold the white building in the city. Keep on giving.
During that time, between 1956 and the 2000s, the Girl Scouts used it. We have a lodge, and when I first started up there, we tore bunk beds out of the lodge, so groups used to stay there. City Rec, Mr. Benke, Bill Benke remembers going out with City Rec, and it was college kids that led the program, and they would go out for the weekend and stay out there. If you had a leader that liked to camp, they'd just go down to the local hardware store, pick up a key, and you could go out and camp as long as you wanted to, as long as you had a responsible leader there. In 1974, the old cabin burnt, the cabin that was on the first page of that burnt. I think that's when the gate went up. I'm just guessing, but I think. There were a lot of trail developments that took place during that time. We've had many fish and wildlife programs that have been, and DNR programs that have paid for the improvement of some of our pond areas that our kids dip in, and the lake, and the Optimist purchase of GPS units a few years ago. So a lot of different organizations have had a part in that. Mike Supernall, I don't know if any of you were out there when he was there. He's up in Indian River and still doing outdoor stuff. But he ran our tag program out there. He was also the one that started the grade level class trips. And then Mr. Hoppy continued on with that back when the board had the technology grant. Al wrote a grant and received stereo microscopes, and we're using this today. And we've also constructed the building out there. So lots happened during that 50-some year time span. So back in the aerial view of 1957 to Google Earth of 2018, this is now the driveway. And notice all the woods. So the forestry is, the agricultural is gone, the forestry is taken over. And most of the trees that are along here are pine trees that were planted back in 55 and 56. So today, we're continuing with the grade level programs. There's just some pictures of different grade level groups that we've had out there. We have first grade, third grade, fifth grade, and then we have an advanced placement environmental class that comes out once a month. And this year, we are going to begin having our alternative students in science come out Shelley Boyce has taken that program over, and so she's excited to work with me, and so we'll be able to do some programming with the at-risk kids from alternative along with the AP kids at the high school. So that's kind of exciting that the experience is going to be available. So we're also using it, I don't know if on Facebook you are with the search and rescue at all, but they use the facility a lot for training their dogs, both in Genesee County and Lapeer County. So in 2020, we put together a forest management plan, and this plan was paid for, funded through the DNR. It's about 50 pages, nothing like the 2-page back in 1955. We had several foresters that were interested in doing it. We chose James Gray. He runs National Capital Forestry, and he does a lot of school forests. So he's managed the school forest up in Clare School District. He's currently working in Battle Creek and also Alma College. So he's kind of focused on the educational component of forest management plan. It's kind of become his niche. So some of the objectives, when he first started to put the forest management plan together, he surveyed several of us, and he wanted to know what was important for us. And you can see that the first three bullet points there are pretty much what we're doing, and we want to continue to do that. The diversity of tree and plant species, if we do absolutely nothing at all, we will end up having just a maple forest, because the larger trees are falling down, and it's the maple trees that are coming through. Now the oak, the pine's just falling down, the pine doesn't regenerate up there. So that's the main, in my mind, the reason that we started the forest management plan was to make sure that we continue with the diversity of the forest. And with oak wilt and some of the other diseases, if something hit out there like ash, the emerald ash borer, it could wipe out the whole educational facility. So 2 years ago, when we started talking about the forest management plan, that was really the initial purpose of it, was to make sure that we could maintain the health of the forest and the diversity of it. And then we'll also gain some revenue from the timber sale. It's going to be very selective. We're going to keep the feeling of the large old forest, because those big oak trees will never take down. Some of them, but the trees that will put great seeds out, we're going to open up underneath those oak trees so that those acorns can fall and new oak trees can grow. So where we're at, our foresters surveyed the land. We had removal of invasive plants come out. Trees have been marked for very selective cutting. By the end of the month, the timber is going to go to bid. We will have a huge, we'll have all to say. The forester is going to guide us. He's going to be kind of our contractor, but it will really come down to what we want. So before it goes to bid, he'll give us a prospectus, and we'll have to decide, okay, so yeah, I want to keep that tree, and that will just go off. So we'll have a very active role there. We'll look at the bids, late harvest, end of this year, beginning of next. It'll just depend on whoever we choose. There's going to have to be probably some improvements to the driveway. The culvert isn't probably strong enough to sustain the semi, so there will have to be some things done there. So just depending on all of that. And then we've also secured a grant through the DNR for $30,000 actually for planting seedlings and new trees. So we'll make sure to plant what we take down and keep it so it's in the future. It's just some pictures of, so this is our forester here, and working with our AP environmental students last spring,
on, if you look at a tree, how to determine how many board feet you can get out of that tree. So they're learning what a forester does along with him, and he's involving them as we will continue to do. This is the same spot, looking out onto the lake. Before we had the invasives guy come in, this is the 2 hours later after he finished. So pretty cool how that machine on the skid steer just took it all down. Some cool things that we're doing that there are no nature centers in the state that's doing the American Bird Conservatory, or ABC, Forest Management for Birds. And we have a group of 10 volunteers. We called the man out at Seven Ponds. And he's a birder. We put together 10 other people that bird with him, and over the next year, they're doing a bird inventory for us. So we'll have before we do these practices, and then after.
Well, we're selling the timber, we're not gonna sell the birds.
Right. And we're looking at developing some bird programs so that, we can encourage that too. So, looking at our, so far, they've identified 57 different species of birds up there just in the last few weeks.
Well, what the new staff doesn't realize is you're the 10 volunteers. Thank you for coming to the meeting. Mrs. Z is laughing about that one.
Where's my bird going?
I mentioned slash walls. It's a tool that was researched and developed by Cornell University to take the tops of the trees and make over 10-foot walls. And so it will create a great habitat within. And the idea being that once we'll plant trees inside that enclosure of the tops, and then once that starts to rot down, then the deer can get in, but the deer won't be able to get in until that happens. And so it'll give the small trees plenty of time, and we'll have a gate there to monitor, and that will be an educational component as well. And we'll be part of that research as we move forward. Just kind of cool. And then tomorrow, we'll just continue to monitor. We want to make sure we keep the forest healthy. This forest management plan is a 20-year plan, so it's not just a one and done thing. It's it'll be continued to be monitored throughout the lifetime. We will not be harvesting every year. I think in the plan, there's listed for 2 harvests, but that will be totally up to us as well. We want to expand our programming. And then there's some facility updates that we hope to be able to do with any revenue that comes in. And then finally, come visit. I'd love to have you out. We'll give you a calendar when we get classes if you want to join a class. If you just want to come and walk, let me know. I'll meet you out there anytime. Or Mary can take you. Mary sometimes walks the property just on the weekend. Books I'm volunteering. So,
as long as it's not doing work over there.
So come visit our classroom. It's a great place, and we welcome you. Questions?
Thank you.
I've had the pleasure of being out there before with my kids in the field trips, and that drive-in, it's like a roller coaster. Too bad you couldn't like sell tickets for that. That on a bus with a bunch of kids, I mean, it's like Cedar Point. But so I hope that that's able to help with the road getting in there. But I have enjoyed every time that I've been out there, and to see these before and after with cutting down the invasive species and things like that, to be able to see the lake, and it's so wonderful. And I'm so glad that after 10.5 years you finally prioritized it. Because
that is very persistent.
Because I've enjoyed it immensely, and I know that my 3 children have as well. And I don't know if any of the rest of you have been out here, but it is just absolutely amazing. bring back spring. But it's a fantastic place, and thank you so much for your passion, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. So, thank you.
So it just so happened that after your presentation with my job, I actually ran into LRB. So,
you did?
Yes, so one question that if he's watching, that he asked me to bring up to you is the salamander population, because
Yes.
that is one of, if not the best salamander populations at Skinner Lake. What do you expect to happen? Obviously, there's going to be some sacrificing of some of the species, but what do you think that that's going to look like?
We are being very careful in not taking many trees in the area that we take the first graders in the salamander area. I mean, salamanders are throughout the entire property, but specifically that area. And we're also being very careful around the wetlands, because that's where they go to.
That was going to be my, because one thing you brought up is we dry up that land,
Yeah.
you might as well kiss that place goodbye because we're going to have nothing. So awesome to hear that. Thank you.
I just wanted to add that you look at what happened in 1954 and 56 and 57, and you look at people that invested resources and time into this classroom that they never were going to enjoy the benefit of, right? And so what we're doing is making a similar investment that 40 years from now, if we maintain it, that our grandchildren are going to benefit from. So it's kind of, I love the history lesson, because you go back and look at the commitment that was made by people, most of whom we've never met, right? And here we are in 2022, and our kids are enjoying this. So it's incumbent upon us to take care of this resource. And as a side note, improvements to the facility were and are part of our bond proposal, right? Whether it's dealing with the roller coaster entry this way and just shoring that up with drainage and culverts and making sure that it's not a washout, and continuing to invest some money into it besides the revenue from timber sale. But it's too valuable a resource to ignore any longer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will head into our public comment for this evening. A board meeting is a meeting of school district business held in public. It's not a public meeting. The school board is not going to respond to those making public comment, but will direct the superintendent to follow up with a presenter. 30 minutes is set aside for public comment, so each presenter is being asked to keep their comments brief. The board does not comment in public on any student or employee and asks the presenter to be respectful of any person they comment about. Jerry Takash.
Hi, I'm Jerry Koch, and for the last couple of years, well, there are two topics that I want to discuss. The fireworks cleanup that was kind of discussed last session, and the internet that they want to expand here in Lapeer County. For the last couple of years, the Lapeer Democrats have been working with the Lapeer Chamber of Commerce in trying to clean up after the fireworks display. And, we've been doing this for a couple of years, and I thought everything went well this year. Compared to last year, it seemed like the citizens of Lapeer did a good job cleaning up. And I was surprised when Nita Payne gave me a call, like right after the meeting, saying that there was a bit of a kerfuffle or whatever with someone addressing the board. Sometimes when people are passionate about something, they maybe come across maybe abrasive or caustic, and I definitely don't want to reflect that. When I contacted her later on, it seemed that her main concern was the mowing right after the fireworks. We need time to clean up. If you take some little plastic band like this and it gets mulched up, it just ends up in the water system. Any metal like a can that gets mulched up turns into razor blades. So it seemed like last year the mower showed up around 11 o'clock. This year it was like before 9 o'clock. And I'm sure that there's mowing done before the fireworks, so it's not really necessary to do that. So I was hoping that there'd be like a moratorium of 24 hours or 48 hours to give us time to clean up. the other part of that is, we're mostly, I wouldn't want to say elderly, but we're experienced with replaced knees and bad backs and things like that. So we're requesting that any groups with the schools associated, whether they're volleyball teams or football or national honor, somebody wants to do some community service, come out there and help us out. You know, and that's why it doesn't have to be at 9 in the morning when we show up. It could be after they have their meetings or practice or whatever, and we can work together. I'm sure these, you know, and that's something that can be addressed, you know, next spring, because 4th of July is a long way off as far as that goes. The other thing about the internet that I want to address, at the county commission meetings, they've been talking about expanding broadband throughout the county. And Quentin Bishop, the county's administrator, he mentioned how it's going to be a big advertising campaign, you know, billboards, yard signs, you know, talk to your friends and neighbors. And I'm suggesting that there be a more coordinated effort with the county and the schools. I mean, I want Lapeer students to go to the front of the line. You know, as we all know with COVID and doing things on Zoom and, you know, virtual schooling now. I mean, if you have shaky internet service, it isn't just going to break up your Netflix that you're trying to watch. I mean, you get frustrated. You know, I've seen my granddaughter sometimes go to my house and work on something and just, you know, she starts a project and then it would kick off. You know, and for a lot of times teenagers, when they come across a roadblock like that, they have to tune out then, you know. So I'm suggesting that, and I'm going to bring this up at tomorrow's board meeting, in that, you know, the county really work with the schools. They should have the priority on this. Our young people, I mean, they, you know, the students and the parents, they should have, you know, they should get first dibs on the internet access. And it's not just Lapeer community schools, obviously, it's the other school districts that are in Lapeer County, but you guys are the big dog in town, so I figure we should take care of you guys first. All right, thank you, and vote yes for LCS.
Thank you. Karen Robin?
Hello. My name is Karen Roden, and I recently volunteered to act as treasurer for our newly formed committee, Say Yes for LCS Kids. After the defeat of the bond renewal in August, and outcries heard from parents and community members who desperately wanted it to pass. After the board acted swiftly and appropriately, thank you very much, to get back on the ballot in November, Margaret Tompkins and her mother, Jan Watts, decided it was time for some organized community involvement. After starting the Facebook page titled Say Yes for LCS, which has over 900 members already, that's in about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, a call went out for volunteers. With Margaret and Jan co-chairing the committees, Kristen Casaban volunteered to head up marketing, and Debbie Fish volunteered to head up community outreach. We have others that have volunteered to help these wonderful ladies, but we can always use more. It's going to be a lot of work. Our goal is to help our community understand why good schools matter. Our slogan is yes for kids, yes for schools, and yes for community. We'll educate community in the fact that good schools attract new home buyers and businesses to the community, help home values, and increase a child's chance for future success. We're going to show the critical needs the bond renewal will meet for students, such as securing our buildings, upgrades to keep our children safe, building and ground maintenance, and help with safe transportation. Finally, we're going to encourage everyone to vote on November 8th. Parent and community members can vote in person on election day or vote by absentee ballot. We're also going to encourage our parents and community members who are not registered to get registered to vote. Our committee is truly in the beginning stages. Since we officially registered with the state of Michigan on August 25th, less than 2 weeks ago, but we plan to achieve our mission and pass this bond renewal by using clear and compelling Say Yes yard signs, informational flyers, community outreach, and social media. We're looking at marketing initiatives too that everything is contingent upon our funding the efforts. We're accepting checks and set up a Venmo account for donations. Many people have already stepped up and donated, but in order to achieve our goals, we need money. There's no other way to do it. I have information on me on how to donate if you want to see me after the meeting. Feel free to get my contact information from Matt, Mary, some of you have it, know how to get a hold of me. And I'm happy to help if anybody has any questions or wants to get in contact with us. You can also email us at, and this is a pretty easy one to remember, lapeerkids@yahoo.com. I didn't think I could make it any easier than that. I monitor that email. I try to check it several times a day, and I promise to get back with you promptly if you have any questions. I want to thank you for your time, and thank you, board members, for getting this back on the ballot. We want to begin improving our schools for our children and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Debbie Fish.
Good evening. I'm Debbie Fish. I have to do a transition here because the Skinner Lake thing got to me because I was one of those that was there in the 50s and the 60s. And I'm still there. Okay, we're here. That's really exciting though, with that's being worked on. I'm here tonight to talk about the Say Yes for Kids initiative to return the bond issue and pass it. To return the bond issue on the ballot and pass it. I'm going to just briefly kind of tell you where we're at. Like Karen said, we've only been in existence really for about 2 weeks. And we have started to identify, as far as community outreach, a plan. We have created a calendar of community events that are occurring in between now and November. And we are making contact with people to be at those events and being able to provide information and brochures on the bond issue for those people, and also voting abilities. We have, we're looking at signs, and we're producing brochures, and we're also looking at doing, we're giving our volunteers, as we can get them, postcards that they can send to friends and with a personal message. That's one of the things that we talked about. We're also looking at forming a speakers bureau of volunteers that will go out to civic organizations, social clubs in the area, maybe even churches, and talk about the bond issue and the voting issue. And then so we're in the process of making those contacts now. But again, one of the things that we need is we need volunteers to do that. And although we have 900 people on Facebook, and it really gets home, 900. I looked at it last night, and there's some people that are on there 7 times. So we have to think realistically about the Facebook thing. We also have created what community members can do. I know lots of times people say, geez, that's really nice, and I really can't afford to donate money, or I work full time and I don't know how I can donate my time to volunteer and do things. What could I do? So we created a brochure that tells people how they can help the initiative in other ways. One is to volunteer if you can. We need people to distribute and post signs. We need people to attend local events and distribute information, and we need people to encourage other people to vote, and we need people to serve as speakers in the Speakers Bureau. We need to donate. We need to donate donations to support the purchase of the signs and doing advertising. To invite people who support the bond issue to join Say Yes and on our Facebook group. Talk to friends and family and live in high visibility areas that are willing to put up signs in their yard when the time comes for that. So we have a plan for that. Learn about the details of the bond voting at Lapeer, according to Lapeer. was it LapeerBond.com. And look at it, I encourage people to look at exactly what we're doing and we're asking for and why, and tell your friends to look at that. They're the facts. In the last week I heard some really strange things about you know how it is. But
What?
Yeah. Ask local business operators that you know if they'd be willing to put a sign in their window supporting the bond issue. If they have a message board or a digital sign, would they be willing to put up a message about voting yes for a couple of weeks before the election? Encourage friends and family that are not able to vote in person on November 8th to vote absentee ballot. It's very simple. They don't even have to go in. They can do it online. They can register. They can submit for an application online very simply, and just encourage more people to vote. And, you know, we have, especially in Michigan, we have that opportunity to do that quite easily these days. So you can see we've got our foot in the door and we're moving. It seems like every day it takes up a little more time and a little more time, but it's kind of exciting because things are moving and I'm hoping that this will follow through. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I think that's the end of our public comment for this evening. We will head into our reports. So Mrs. Novak, would you please share with us the Finance and Operation Committee report?
Yes. So on August 23rd at 2:30 p.m. we called the meeting to order. Those attending were myself, Summer Putnam, and Brad Hydenon. Others attending was Matt Laundry, Mark Rader, Erica Henderson, Beth Rupert, and Mary Moss. I'm not going to repeat the forestry, other than that Beth did present the history of Skinner Lake as she did this evening, what it looks like today and the future plan. And our plan is to continue to enhance and expand their science curriculum for the outdoor education located at Skinner Lake. Basically, the presentation was just about identical. So, moving on to the L4029, each year the board needs to approve a resolution along with the form L4029, which specifies to the treasurers of the various townships the exact amount to levy for the district operating non-homestead millage and voted debt levy. Mark explained that the district will leverage a debt mill of 2.65 mils. The board will be asked to approve the L4029 at the September at this meeting. We also discussed the Lapeer land purchase. Mark Rader updated the committee on Lapeer area citizens against domestic assault Lapeer land purchase. LCS has received an offer from them to purchase approximately 6.44 acres of property on Clark Road adjacent to the Lapeer facility for $48,860 plus the cost of survey in the amount. It was the consensus of the committee to recommend full board approval at tonight's meeting. The meeting adjourned at 3:10 p.m.
Thank you, Mrs. Novak. Any questions or comments? Okay. That concludes our reports for tonight. Let's go into our action items. First, we have our consent grouping, approval of minutes of the August 3rd, 2022 board meeting, approval of minutes of the August 10th, 2022 special meeting, first reading of board policy 8460, COVID-19 workplace plan, and out-of-state trip request, world language students to New York City on May 3rd through May 8th of 2023. Are there any items in this consent grouping anyone wish to be removed? Okay, I'm hearing none.
I'll make a motion that the consent items, reading the minutes be waived and the consent agenda items be approved as presented.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Dr. Novak?
Yes.
Mrs. Labar?
Yes.
Mr. Lipka? Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mrs. McKenna? Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion passes. Okay, next we have resolution approving 2022 tax levy in form L4029.
I'll make a motion that the 2022 tax levy resolution in form L4029 be approved as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. motion? Hearing none. Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Labar?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Hagno?
Aye.
Mrs. McKenna?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion passes. Then we have resolution approving sale of property to Lakata.
I'll make a motion that the resolution authorizing sale of the property to Okada for an amount not to exceed $51,660 be approved as presented.
I'll support that, but I do have a point of clarification. So in the report, it says 6.44 acres, but in this motion, it says 6.98 acres. Just wondering which, are we doing 6.44 or no?
When you read the resolution is legalese, and so when we started this 2+ years ago, the estimate, before we had the actual survey done by row, was me on Google Earth, 2.44. When the actual survey was done by row,
6.44.
or 6.44, it ended up being 6.98. So you see in the resolution, it started that way, it's now being proposed 6.98 acres at the 7,000 for the 48,860 plus reimbursement for the survey of $2,800 to get to the 51 number that Craig had.
So this was effective as of our meeting, was the.
Correct.
Right, and then it changed.
Thank you for that.
Any other discussion on the motion? Okay. Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Labar?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mrs. McKenna? Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion passes. Okay. That concludes our action items. Let's go into our board member communications. Anyone have any topics this evening?
I do, as usual. I'm really happy to see this in the paper today, but of course, we've heard it from our wonderful speakers about the committee to promote the LCS bond proposal. I was so happy when I received the Facebook invitation from Margaret, and I promptly invited all 900 of my friends. So I can't attest to all of those people on there. I can try to filter it, but I am just.
Are you the seventh person?
just as myself. But I'm blown away at the support. I mean, we all know that this is something that we've needed for years, and we all know how discouraged we were in August. And to know that the community and the people that care so much about our kids and the school reacted just as quickly as we did as a board to move forward, to not quit, and to have that support and to have it in the paper, on the front page, on the front line. I was so happy when I saw this today, and I just want to thank everybody for their efforts. And then I have another newspaper article where Mr. Wandry was over at Roland Warner making the wonderful entryway there and making the great big L in front of the Roland Warner.
I just took the picture. I didn't.
It was so neat. He brought them donuts too.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed at our kids and how much they all want to pull together, and all of our parents and all of our community members who are doing the same. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I know that the rest of the board is the same way. So thank you all for all of your efforts. We so appreciate it.
I just wanted to say thanks to Beth for presenting, even though I heard it happen. I didn't grow up here, so it's new to me. I just think, like you said, it's a wonderful resource, and I'm really excited. So I'm excited that we're going to maybe make some improvements and make something better. So. And I'm very excited about the Say Yes committee as well. I'm curious if we can be speakers. Board members be speakers?
You know, as in your capacity as a community member, you know, volunteer community organizations are within your purview to participate in. I don't know if speaking in official capacity is allowed, but we'll look into it.
Maybe I can do that.
Absolutely.
what I'd ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Skinner Lake, I appreciate you bringing that forward. I did get to go there as a kid. And I have had Mr. Superno is my science teacher. And I absolutely loved it, so it brought back some great memories. And I'm glad to see my nieces and nephews going there too, so it's awesome. All the work that we're gonna do there, I really think it's beneficial for our kids to have the outdoor learnings, just like, you know, it's just as important. So I appreciate you coming tonight. And all the volunteers for Say Yes to Our Kids. I can't thank you enough for all the effortless, endless time you will spend to help us convince this community that this is the right thing that we need to do for our kids. There's no specialness in this bond. This is all everything we must do to have a safe environment for our kids to come and learn in. So appreciate every ounce of your time. Appreciate everybody who donates money, time, energy. We need this. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Superintendent Wellington.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Jerry for his comments this evening. Know that the school districts in the county through the ISD have had a connection with the county commission relative to the internet piece. We totally agree with you. We need a concerted effort to make that happen. Thanks to all of our new staff for coming out this evening. It was great. We had a great first week of school for our non-year-round students. The year-round staff and students are like, it's no big deal. What's the big deal? In school for 30 days. Come on, get over it. But we had a great opening staff PD. I just received we survey our staff every year on the professional development sessions, and I read Michelle and I read every comment. And again, blown away by the positivity that the staff reported back on the sessions, what they learned, what they're going to apply to their classrooms. So kudos to Michelle and her team. Putting together professional development for hundreds of people in a 2-day period is quite an undertaking. And if anybody asks, what do you Central Office people do all summer? We watch Michelle do work and support her. Everybody's busy, but that's a big couple days for the district. So, as far as the community group, Lapeer Community Schools. That's the title, right? And we don't sit here as experts that have all the answers, and we can't do it without people like those that came here to speak this evening and those who are going to volunteer their time. So, if titles mean anything, community means staff, neighbors, friends, business owners, alumni, and just anyone interested in pushing forward on what we're trying to do for our students. So thank you to those groups. We look forward to working with you in partnership. Karen just couldn't get enough of me, so she retired, but thought, I've got to figure out a way to get more time with Matt, so I get it, it's the deal.
So she's training her dog to bite you.
And with that, I conclude my comments, Madam President.
Thank you, Superintendent Wandry.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Great, I have a motion and a support. Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. LaBarre?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka? Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mrs. McCutcheon? Mrs. Putnam says aye. Meeting adjourned.